Internet! Hello and welcome to this week's Coy Cubed. We have a ton of news to talk about today, but I was thinking it's actually a little less than we would normally potentially have because this time of year we'd usually be at the end of award season. The Oscars was yesterday. The Oscars was yesterday last year, so now we're in the nominations section of the year and we'd normally be in the end of award season, and even the Super Bowl, which was yesterday, 2 days ago, the commercials would normally be a little different. We usually have a lot more movie trailers, a lot more things to announce, so it's a really strange February of any year. Just the feel of things, the pop culture influence, all those things, is just, the feeling's a little different. It hadn't really hit me until I looked at the Super Bowl trailers and realized way less movies, a lot more still up in the air. We'd usually, like I said, be at award season's conclusion this year, so we're still riding the wave of strange. All of that being said, there's a lot of news this week. We're going to be talking about Spider-Man 3, Tom Holland's comments, and how they might kind of contradict each other. We're going to be talking about the zeitgeist shift that was WandaVision, but we're going to save that towards the middle, near the end of the show. That way, if you haven't seen WandaVision and you've somehow still been unspoiled, I won't give that away. We're going to talk about the Schmoedown and the matches that are coming up. We're going to try to be incorporating the curls element into the show a little bit more, so lots and lots of stuff to talk about today, and a lot of it's superhero based. There's a lot of really cool stuff, as well as Joker and Steppenwolf and lots of other things popping up from the DC side because we're getting closer to the Snyder Cut. So all of the above is coming at you, and I never asked this at the top of the show, but I'm gonna this time. Before I even went live, we had 2 downvotes, and I think that's because I voiced my opinion today, and I'll voice my opinion again as we get into the show. So I would like you, dear viewer, to give me some thumbs up so I don't get fucking algorithmed on YouTube. I need your help for balance, because I hadn't even said a fucking word yet, and 2 assholes decided I had. So to them and to you. All right, this is love to you, and this is to them. That would make that clear. Let's dive into some news, you lovelies. This is, as I said, a giant news day. Let's kick it off with some Super Bowl stuff. The Super Bowl gave us a new look at Falcon and Winter Soldier. This is the next show coming from Disney+. This is the next bit of Phase 4 in the Marvel Universe. Very excited about it. This trailer gave us something I didn't expect to get this soon, and it's probably my favorite part of the trailer, and this feels very silly, but I'm such a giant X-Men fan. We saw Madripoor for the first time. I am so excited for Madripoor. I'm so excited for the inevitable X-Men that are coming. Seeing Madripoor in a Super Bowl trailer of all things is such a reaffirming nerd moment. How incredible is it that we have not only are we so far along into comic book culture being represented on screen, we have something as deep nerdy as Madripoor during a Super Bowl commercial. That was so freaking cool to me. So that city you see at the opening of the trailer is Madripoor. All the clubs you see, all of that is the scum and villainy of Marvel. That is going to be a setting we're going to see more in the X-Men films. I think that might mean we'll eventually get Patch. We're going to get a lot more X-Men love there. It is very, very freaking cool. So excited for Madripoor. We also got Sharon Carter coming back. We haven't seen her since Civil War, if memory serves. And I'm assuming this is because she was on the wrong side of the law. And I'm curious if she's been locked up, if she's been on the run, if she's been hiding. She did aid and abet a fugitive in Captain America in getting all of that gear to Winter Soldier and Falcon in that scene with Ant-Man in the garage and all that jazz. So I think that's the last time we've seen her, unless I'm misremembering something. So it's really cool to see her back with Falcon Winter Soldier, who we saw her with last, and the potential of filling in those gaps in story, like what's been going on at the Sokovia Accords, what's been going on with the more down-to-earth side of the Marvel Universe, because, I mean, frankly, after Civil War, everything went fairly cosmic and insane for a while there. I'm curious about her backstory. She came back with a vengeance. All of her fight scenes are really interesting. It's a very quick teaser, but it gives us lots and lots of information, and Sharon Carter is a beloved character both in the comics and in the film, so I'm excited to see her back. We also got a big moment for me as a mask. Now, we're having connection issues. Let me see if this glitches over here and let it reconnect. Aha, we've reconnected. Through the D23 footage, we knew we were getting the Baron Zemo mask. Now, we've seen in a couple previs images the actual mask being wielded by the great Brule, but seeing it being carried, the tone of that shot has me so excited for the full Baron Zemo that's to come. I think, personally, this might lead to Thunderbolts as soon as this show. So, first off, Baron Zemo, I'm excited to see him in all of his regal glory. The character's got a fascinating backstory. He's got a lot of Doctor Doom elements where the mask means quite a bit to the character. In this case, it's a little silly. The mask is glued to his face. I don't think they're going to go that route, but I think the mask is going to be integral for his leveling up as a villain. Seeing the mask is just really exciting for any comic book fan. But as far as Thunderbolts go, I'm thinking if we want to establish a world where we don't trust superheroes as blindly as we do now, we're going to need the Thunderbolts. Now, with WandaVision, we're going to be laying some groundwork for not trusting superheroes. With Civil War, we laid some groundwork for not trusting superheroes. But I think Thunderbolts are going to be a great final, we can't trust people with masks. And that's a beautiful parallel with Zemo. And we don't have a lot of masked heroes in the MCU right now. Right now, most of the heroes are public. I mean, Iron Man started the trend. Most everyone knows who everyone is, except Spider-Man, and depending on how Daredevil goes. But I really think that the Thunderbolts might come into play as we have this schism being formed with the characters arguing over the shield so publicly. Now, I think just as we left them in Endgame, Winter Soldier believes that Falcon should wield the shield, but we have this new U.S. agent character played by Wyatt Russell who's going to be the blonde pretty boy that a lot of people think should have the shield, and that's going to be leaning into a lot of the real-world politics that we're dealing with today, unfortunately, that there's going to be a lot of far too topical commentary reflecting the comics. Like, there's this great run of Falcon as Cap that, you know, half of America is still really backwards and sees certain things. So having this character embody Cap when he doesn't have the actual authority to wield the shield is going to be interesting. And while, just like in the real world, we're so close to Civil War and we're so separate, that's a great time for the Thunderbolts to come in. That's a great time for Baron Zemo to continue his plan that he started in the Civil War. If you actually look at it, Winter Soldier is going to be continuing into Civil War, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be continuing that very same story. It's this beautiful arc that really started with Winter Soldier. This lack of trust in authority, this lack of trust in the way the systems are working, all of these things are going to lead to a really tense and intense storyline for America. And what better way to do that than with the Captain America story? So I'm really excited for all of that. Just that one brief shot of that new Cap in the Super Bowl is going to be really interesting, and I can't wait to see Falcon wielding that shield and tossing it around and everything else. It's going to be so freaking cool. I'm so excited for that show. Before they announced Moon Knight and She-Hulk, that was my most anticipated show. Like the first round of Disney Plus announcements, Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU film, so Falcon and Winter Soldier became my most anticipated show. Baron Zemo quickly escalated that into madness, and now we've got Madripoor. Give me more. We've got buddy cop action. Buddy cop is probably my favorite genre. I'm a sucker for Lethal Weapon. I'm big on, you know, the Fast franchise, which is buddy cop times 10 because you've got a whole family. I'm a huge fan of Russell Wyatt. I think he's incredible. Now, one of the things that just came out today was this show is actually 16 plus rated for the Dutch TV board. They're the first ones to get their hands on the actual rating and episodes. Some Redditor caught this. 16 plus is pretty much, but there's going to be a different tone to each Disney Plus show, which I honestly think is to the benefit of everybody. I think this is a really good opportunity to age up some of the audience. It's a really good opportunity to have more of the espionage stuff. So this being a 16 plus show has me even more excited about it. I'm not sure what's going on my internet. All apologies for any rendering that's going on. I'm seeing the occasional glitch, but I'm not touching it. It's just happening. So all apologies there. I don't want to end the stream unless we totally lose everything. So it is a 16 plus show, which again is more in the line of the Daredevil level maturity, a TVMA rating. So I'm really excited what they're able to do within Disney Plus with that. I think Disney's learning that they're not just a kids network in a myriad of ways. WandaVision is a very unapproachable show in the traditional sense. WandaVision is very trusting of its audience, and it's not for kids in any way. So I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to continue that trend, and I think we're going to have a very different MCU as of, well, now, but at the end of Wanda, it's going to change a lot of things, and then we go right into Falcon Winter Soldier. So I'm really stoked. I saw a Streamlabs pop up from the great Jason Ritchie, and I'm going to be checking Streamlabs in between all the different stories. That is going to conclude my theoretical, as of now, thoughts on where we are with Falcon Winter Soldier. That being said, I just started a TikTok like 9-10 days ago, fairly recently, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts over on TikTok, 1-minute little blurbs on any trailers that drop, any first looks we have for anything. TikTok is going to be where I post my quick thoughts, and I'm probably going to, because I can do graphics and edit, and it's dope, and I'll probably be posting them on Twitter and stuff like I have been, but sometimes I won't, so TikTok's a great place to follow me. It's my name to see my first thoughts on all the stuff. Jason said, I just found out this weekend that my fiance also thought the phrase was punch a gift horse in the mouth, so it may really be a Boston thing. Jason, thank you. That's amazing. 1, congratulations on being engaged. I've known Jason for a while. We worked together in Boston. 2, I swear it's punch a gift horse in the mouth. Thank you very much for that geographical reassurance in my heart. I appreciate you. Spidey Cat appreciates you. It is punch a gift horse in the mouth. I thank you. Yes. Yes. Anyone that doesn't understand that reference, it's a reference to an inside joke for Coycast, and it's also a shirt. You can buy Don't Punch a Gift Horse Coycast shirts over at coycast.com. It is a beautiful rendition of the Deadpool art with ouchie and all of me punching a gift horse in the mouth. Check out coycast.com if you want a nice punch a gift horse shirt. We also had one come in before the show even started. Mr. Caleb Hernes says, WandaVision spoilers. I'm going to address this during the WandaVision section, but I will not forget, Mr. Caleb. I'll get to that when we get to spoilers, just in case at the top of the show somehow people haven't seen it, just for safety, but I will get to you, Caleb. All right, more news that is not yet spoilerific. We got a brief bit of news. The Watchmen Writer, shoot, I want to get her name right. Please hold, I'm so sorry. I did not write down, I just wrote Watchmen Writer and thought I would look it up, but it's really exciting news. Is on board to write Blade, which has me very, very excited. Her name is Stacey Asai Kufer. It is Stacey, and then it's Osei. Last name with a little hyphen is Kuffour. So Kufor, Stacey Osai Kufor. Do not know. I do not know her pronunciation of name. I do know that she worked on this right here. And this right here is one of the best translations I've ever seen of a world. It's a sequel to the book without being a direct adaptation of the book, because it takes place all after the book, but it lives in that Alan Moore insanity. And this, to me, is the best show since Breaking Bad. This show, I can't believe it exists. It's near perfect. So anyone that worked on this, I am immediately going to be invested in. And the fact that one of the writers from this is working on Blade, and they looked for a writer on the Blade property for quite some time. The hunt for a Blade writer has been thorough. This is huge news. This was taken so seriously. It's so mature and responsible with the subject matter. Blade needs to be as well. This also, on a personal note, really excites me because from the beginning, you can actually watch some of my old Marvel movie news footage. Early my Marvel movie news days, I've been saying that we will fully be in the success that a lot of people want when we're not having women just write female characters and having them write movies. Like, I don't think you need to be a woman to write a woman movie, and now we have a female writer on Blade because there shouldn't be these crazy lines in the sand. So this is really exciting for me because it's always been a strange, like, I don't like the lines in the sand. So I'm really excited that we've got an incredible writer on Blade, and I'm really excited for some of the weirdness as a culture to be fading. This is fantastic news. I don't know anything about this person except they worked on that, and Blade is one of my most anticipated properties of the future. Mahershala Ali is going to be perfect as Blade. I love Wesley Snipes. Without Wesley Snipes' Blade, we would not be in the superhero world we have today. That's what really started it, in my opinion. Before X-Men or Spider-Man, Blade really made a superhero movie as a digestible bit of pop culture possible. Digestible pun intended. So I'm really excited for this next wave of Blade, and who knows, now that I almost spoiled something. Again, WandaVision, I'll talk about it. But I'm really excited for Mahershala Ali. I think he's a genius, and he actually popped up in my acting studio back when I was an actor boy, And the man's perspective on the world is fascinating, and he's got such presence, and I think he's going to be awesome as Blade. So this is really cool. I'm so excited. Over to the world of DC. We're going to talk about the Snyder Cut, and then we're going to talk about Spider-Man 3 comments. If people get mad at me and I lose a bunch of you, I'm so sorry, and I'm prepared for that, but we will talk about Spider-Man 3 after this, because it is next. We have our first look at the Joker. I am so excited for Snyder Cut fans to get the movie they want. They have been so active and so passionate and so invested in this, the likes of which I've never actually seen a movie get. This was a project that I did not honestly think would ever see the light of day, and it was through the sheer power of fandom that this exists. All of the credit to that being an impossibility up until now. Fans actually changed the course of this movie existing. That's really impressive. It is going to be a 4-hour film that debuts on HBO Max on March 18th, 19th? March 18th. I just forgot which of the 2 days. March 18th, we get the Snyder Cut. Now, we got our first look at Joker today. We knew that Jared Leto was going to be in this, and we assumed it was going to be a slightly different take. I personally am not a fan of the look. I get that people are, and I get that everyone has their own opinion, and I personally, it's not for me. It looks like a Joker fan versus a Joker, and I personally am excited to see it in motion. I'm excited to see Jared Leto do what he does. I think he's an incredibly vulnerable actor. I think he exposes his raw nerves to the screen, and I think that's why he has an Oscar, and I think that's why he's always captivating on screen. I think he's a fascinating actor. So I'm really excited to see that through this this character. I'm excited to see him get even another 4 minutes of screen time. I'm excited. I know it takes place in the nightmare world. I know it takes place after the world has crumbled, but it's not my Joker. So I will say that we have some more information in an interview with Variety, which is where these pictures came. Vanity Fair, which is where these pictures came from. Zack Snyder said the following: the cool thing about the scene is that it's the Joker talking directly to Batman about Batman. That's awesome. I'm excited for that especially. It's Joker analyzing Batman about who he is and what he is. That's the thing I also felt like fans deserve from the DC Universe. That is to say that Jared Leto Joker and the Ben Affleck Batman, they never really got together. It seemed uncool to me that they would make it all the way through this incarnation of Batman and Joker without seeing them come together. Completely agree with all of that. It's awesome. Especially with the Suicide Squad having that bitchin' Ben Affleck Batman cameo. I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm a big fan of his take in violence and in conversation. I like his Bruce Wayne and his Batman, so I'm excited for all that. The next bit is what bothers me, and this is the second part of the quote. Snyder isn't clear about what happened to this iteration of the Joker between Suicide Squad and his appearance here, or about what happened to that infamous forehead tattoo, saying, quote, I would say that there's been some water under the bridge. Who knows what happened? I don't know if he's wearing makeup. I don't know what's happening. It's hard to say exactly. I would like answers. I get that this is an alternate reality element. It's a nightmare world. But I would hope there's a backstory. So personally, I like my characters to have that. Maybe Jared Leto has backstory. Maybe someone in the journey to this has decided how we got there. For me, I like to know this shit. So I am less excited about that than I would like to be. Jared Leto's Joker wasn't really for me in the Suicide Squad, and I personally am a giant Joker fan. I think the Joker is one of the best villains in the history of comic books. I think what the Joker represents is a beautiful yin to the yang of Batman, or yang to the yin of Batman, however you want to see it. All of that being said, if you're trying to establish a canon, you should have a take. Like, if he had all those tattoos, which I didn't like, then there should be a reason he doesn't now. I wanted more than just like we made it look like this. So I welcome the hostility from the inevitable Snyder fans, because they are rabid, and that's how this Snyder Cut exists. So I commend them for willing this into existing to manifest this magic, but I want answers. I don't want just like it was convenient. I am, however, excited to see Ben Affleck's Batman as much as possible. I'm excited to give all of the hope to this Jared Leto Joker. I really want to see a Joker-Batman conversation with Ben Affleck's Batman. I don't consider yet in my mind, because we've only had him in Suicide Squad, and that wasn't really a Batman movie for obvious reasons. I'm really excited to see that scene, because I don't consider Jared Leto's Joker the Joker to Ben Affleck's Batman, because we haven't seen that really. We've had that one scene. So I am excited to see what that looks like. To everyone that got mad at me on Twitter, when I'm excited about the first look of something, you don't give me shit. If I'm saying, like, this is a cool costume, you don't say, like, wait till the movie first. You understand that I'm talking about a first look. You understand that I'm saying, like, from what we have so far, this is my feeling. I can say the same negatively. I can also say, I don't like this character design. I can also say, I personally disagree with this, because you're watching my show, and you're on my Twitter, and that's my take, that's my opinion. If you're here, it's for my take and my opinion. I used to get shit for being only positive. I'm gonna be honest, it's not my Joker. And I'm gonna be honest, I love Ben Affleck's Batman. I think he deserves a good Joker. So I didn't like the first look. I'm gonna be fucking there on March 18th. I'm gonna watch that shit and I'm gonna give it a chance. And I hope to fucking God I'm wrong. I didn't like Evan Peters' Quicksilver, and someone pointed out to me, like, that first look wasn't good, and then I fucking loved it in the movie. Maybe that'll happen, and I hope to God I'm wrong. Give me a Joker that I want, and give me that opposite Ben Affleck's Batman. I hope I'm wrong. I wasn't a fan, it's not my thing, and I think I have the fucking right to say so on my own Twitter. So, anyone has a problem with me talking about how I feel on my Twitter can unfollow me, which plenty of people did. That's on them. Okay, let's kick over to exciting shit about the other side of the universe. Marvel shit. Both have me very excited. Again, DC is going in the direction I really want things to go. I think Sandman is going to blow a lot of minds. I think the Batman's going to blow a lot of minds. I think DC has really found a great tone in this Shazam era. I'm excited to see the Snyder Cut, but I don't know if that's the direction things are going to go going forward, especially with Flashpoint allowing a pretty much restart. So, yeah, let's see. All right, over to Tom Holland's Spider-Man conversations. Actually, shit, I really want to actually see, I want to address if there's anything in the chat. So instead of just going to the Streamlabs, I'm going to check on the chat real quick. Let's see. Oh, that's very nice. Coy, we love you. You don't need to apologize. Thank you, Nat Roman. But much better upgrade from Suicide Squad. I agree, Killshot, it does look better than Suicide Squad. A fan film Joker, gritty, dirty, mad. Yeah, I mean, it's not my look, but some people are excited, so I'm excited for them. Reminds me of the Injustice games. I love it. I'm stoked for you here to talk. Batfleck, go crazy. Hell yeah. A reason, not just looking cool. That is always my preference. I would prefer a reason, but, apparently it's just going to be a thing. I think we all love Joker. Sometimes it just doesn't work, but there's no way Snyder guys will stop and be objective now, so they'll take everything. I think there are plenty of Snyder fans that... I think Snyder is a genius director for so many things. I also think that Zack Snyder films work so much better when you know what Zack Snyder's vision is. Like, Zack Snyder's a visual director, and I love his perspective, and I've gotten to talk to him enough times that I know exactly what he sees these characters as, and I'm always like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. But it doesn't always translate with all these indiscrepancies and all these different takes, and his take on Batman is certainly different than mine. I don't think Batman kills, but that's my take. I didn't make the movie, so it's not my place to say. That said, I want reasons for shit, and I don't necessarily love not having them. Comic Works is Jimmy, what's up, man? I don't even care if they don't give us a reason why Joker doesn't have tattoos, because it's better and he looked horrible with them. I like reasons. I agree he looks better without them, but I don't want it to just, like, not. Because now we have, like, another universe. Now we have... Because it takes place after Suicide Squad, so now we've already got so many Jokers. Now there's just another pocket universe Joker where it's, like, the same Ben Affleck Joker, but it's not with tattoos. I don't know. Hey, Coy, I'm dedicating February to watching superhero and comic book movies. Just watched Batman 89 for the first time today. Holy shit. Also really interested in comics now. Got any tips for starting them? Dominic, the writer, first time watching Batman. I am jealous. That's awesome. Comics, I'd recommend, trying out in DC. I would try out some of the New 52 stuff that lasted. I would check out The Court of Owls. I would check out Tom King's early arcs. I would check out Frank Miller's Year One. That's what I would say for Batman. Try out some, origin adjacent stuff. Ultimate stuff in Marvel is really approachable. Start early Ultimate stuff in Marvel. And then indie-wise, I would say, Saga is super approachable. It's weird, but it's you don't have to have read any other comics ever to get it. Mr. Miracle is one of my favorite comics of all time, and it's super to itself. Any of those are going to be, yours to play with without having to have read 100 other comics, if that's worth anything. Dominic also... in Feb, I watched Deadpool 2, Catwoman, Green Lantern, Watchmen, The Crow 300, 302, Batman 66, and today was Batman 89. That is dope. Enjoy that journey, good sir. I am very jealous of you getting to experience some of those for the very first time. That is awesome. All right, I'm going to click back over to the news. I just wanted to make sure, and as I said on Twitter, if anyone has any notes that, I didn't think of the Evan Peters thing. I didn't think of the Quicksilver parallel. I didn't initially like the look of Quicksilver, and I said so. And I didn't go back and delete the tweet. I just owned that I was wrong about a first look. I like respectful notes that help me see things differently. So that's why I went back and read the chat, because I wanted to make sure, I don't dig the look of this new Joker. So I wanted to see if there was anything people had input that might help me see it different. So I'm really not anti anything. I just want to understand other people's perspectives, since I don't share that perspective. So... let's get to more news. Tom Holland this week said a very, very bold quote regarding Spider-Man 3. Earlier in the week, he said that Spider-Man 3 was the most ambitious standalone superhero film ever made. Those are bold words. There have been some very ambitious standalone superhero films. That led everyone, like myself, to feel further solidified in the fact that we are getting a Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland madness, like has been rumored. I think Spider-Man 3 is setting itself up to be an interdimensional Spider-Man Sinister Six movie. Again, check out my TikTok, had a whole explainer video. Because we're hearing that Alfred Molina is in it, because Zendaya talked about working with him. We're hearing that Willem Dafoe's popping up on set. We had Jamie Foxx share on Instagram some previs. Those are 3 different dimensions of Spider-Man villains. If they're all in this film, and we saw Michael Keaton in the Morbius trailer going over and trying to recruit Morbius is what it looked like, that to me seems like we've got the Vulture recruiting a Sinister Six, which is very exciting. We've had a Sinister Six movie rumored forever. We have a great script from Drew Goddard from the last round of Spider-Man. We've been assembling a Sinister Six through multiple universes multiple times. What better way to escalate in a post-Infinity War Endgame world than a Sinister Six movie? Now, you guys know, if you were in the Koi Pond, if you're fans of mine, I've wanted a more contained, smaller Spider-Man film. I want a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't know if that's ever going to happen while we're in this escalation wave. I want a Deadpool 1 Logan Spider-Man. I want a smaller villain and a smaller movie. This is the opposite. But if we're going to go big, we should go fucking big. So Sinister Six is the biggest you can really get, and if you add to that an interdimensional element where you're bringing in different continuities villains, then it only makes sense to have different continuities Spider-Man. People want their closure with Tobey Maguire. This is a great farewell to the character since Spider-Man 4 never happened, and I also think it's not a coincidence, because these movies are blocked out in 5 to 10 year chunks, that Sam Raimi is doing Doctor Strange 2. It would not surprise me if there's a little bit of that bleeding into Doctor Strange, or a little bit of the Doctor Strange ending heading into Spider-Man, or the other way around. I think there'll be some elements there. And I also think that this is the only time that Andrew Garfield, who loves the character so dearly, will get the opportunity to play it in the way he might have wanted to. I think that Andrew Garfield... Spidey cat, hey, come on. Spidey, psst. Sorry, Spidey's being a punk. Speaking of Spideys, I think Andrew Garfield should get a send-off that is worthy of the actor that is Andrew Garfield, and he didn't get that in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. So I would love, personally, if that trilogy does happen, the 3 of them, and I think they're actually going to do a Sinister Six interdimensional setup, and that might lead into a Secret Spider-Man 4 that they're filming simultaneously. Because if you look at the schedule, we've got a ton of Marvel MCU spread out with dates. Nobody's really looking at the Sony calendar because they don't really have that same little tiny details and little tiny, notes of things. I think there might be an entire Spider-Verse movie that Marvel wouldn't have anything to do with necessarily, except for the Spider-Man character, that's on the Sony schedule. So everyone's scrutinizing the Marvel schedule, but there's actually a crazy Spider-Man interdimensional Into the Spider-Verse live action happening quietly. Now, all of these are harebrained tinfoil hat theories. That being said, everyone's been thinking it. So recently Tom Holland was interviewed and was asked if specifically Tobey and Andrew were appearing, and he said, quote, No, they will not be appearing in the film unless they have hidden the most massive piece of information from me, which I think is too big of a secret for them to keep from me. But as of yet, it'll be a continuation of the Spider-Man movies that we've been making. However, the actor also prefaced his denial by claiming that sometimes the powers that be at Marvel don't give him the full story in order to avoid leaks. They do it all the time, Holland said. In Endgame, Downey Jr.'s funeral scene, for the longest time, I was under the impression it was a wedding. I'm 100% sure that they're still tricking me. Well, yeah. This is one of a few things. It's a clever way for Tom Holland to disavow and people can stop asking him. It is true, and there is stuff that Tom Holland doesn't know, or they're not in the film. I'm not sure why they would have, Alfred Molina and those people in the film without the Spider-Mans that they equate to. But again, they could be filming their scenes removed from Tom Holland, and then it's the fourth movie that I'm completely spitballing here that actually has them all teaming up. All of that is conjecture and theory and all these things. That's the first quote where he's fully disavowed it, to my knowledge. I don't know if I believe him, and I'm okay with that. I would much rather be surprised. I want to be surprised. I hope it's not in the fucking trailer. I hope we don't get a return of Tobey Maguire in a trailer. I'd rather experience the surprise. It's really hard doing my job and wanting to be surprised. It doesn't happen often. That's why I loved Endgame and Infinity War so much. I stayed surprised. So we'll see. Time will tell. But that is the most recent update from Tom Holland after saying it was the most ambitious of all of the standalone movies. So maybe it's just Tom Holland against an interdimensional Sinister Six. Or he doesn't know the others are in it. Or they're not. We'll find out. All right, let me check on my Streamlab. I saw one pop up while I was getting Spidey 3 hyped. And it says, Scott Welsh, what up, sir? I ordered a copy of Tom King's Vision from my local shop on Sunday. Unfortunately, no ETA for when it'll be in. In other news, apparently everyone with the exact same name buys from that shop too. Never had that happen. So, evil twin or multiverse me? Scott Welsh is definitely a multiverse situation. You've got to handle this. You've got to confront them. I imagine it is not a Highlander scenario where there can be only one, but I do imagine you're going to want to know them so you can team up to take on some future evil, like the plot of Spider-Man 3 in my headcanon. You're going to need to know them. You're going to have to handle this. Also, excellent decision. Tom King's Vision is genius. I think it's one of the best graphic novels ever, and it's certainly one of the best comics of the last couple decades. It is incredible. The tone is unrivaled. It's so good, and please, enjoy and let me know what you think, because I'm a big fan of that glory. All right, over to... that is the end of our big superhero news. The rest is going to be brief little movie news, and then we're going to talk about WandaVision. So if you haven't seen WandaVision yet, I'll warn you first. But that is the end of the big news of the week. Couple of small little notes. There's a Chris Pine's Dungeons and Dragons movie that I'm really excited about. I'm a fan of both Chris Pine, and I love the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I don't personally D&D. A lot of my good friends do. They love it. It is a skill I never picked up, and unfortunately feels like something that's intimidatingly large to jump into. But they're making a Dungeons and Dragon movie. They just added Mr. What is his name? Justice! There it is. I know his last name is Smith. Mr. Justice Smith, as well as Michelle Rodriguez to the cast. That is very exciting. I love both of them. I think Pokemon is one of those, like, how is this movie so good movies? So Justice Smith and Michelle Rodriguez have joined Chris Pine in a D&D movie. In the weirdest news of the week, Mattel is developing an Uno movie dealing with underground hip-hop in Atlanta to produce and possibly star Lil Yachty. Huh. I don't think I'd ever say those words. I never thought I would say Lil Yachty Uno movie. But here we are. There is a making movies out of inanimate objects craze that really kicked off with Lego movies. So I guess it's not surprising Mattel would want to make an Una movie. How it ties into underground hip hop in Atlanta or Lil Yachty, time will tell, but that is to come. We will see. Lil Yachty, Uno movie, apparently happening. We've also got Peanut Butter Falcon directors are teaming with Lord and Miller to do a largely in Spanish American Honey style film. Now, I love Lord and Miller and I loved Peanut Butter Falcon, so those people all teaming up makes me so very excited. This is a movie apparently dealing with the Cuban punk movement in the early 90s, which also was during a heightened AIDS epidemic, so it does not sound as light and fluffy as Lord Miller's earlier and most of their work. But I will see anything any of those people do, so this one definitely has my interest. It sounds very intense, but I'm all sorts of in, and I think American Honey style films are super hard to get made, and I want to support anything like that. American Honey is a kind of like an open source Shia LaBeouf movie that's a lot of improv, but a drama instead of a comedy, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that type of film carries on post-pandemic. Then we got some Super Bowl trailers. We got a Fast 9 Super Bowl trailer, which I really, really dug. I'm a huge fan of the Fast franchise. I think it's incredibly consistent in its insanity, and it somehow escalates beyond where I thought it would ever go. It started with, VCR TV combos, and now they're going to space. I'm really excited for this one. They still do lots of practical effects. It feels like the closest thing we get to the Lethal Weapon type movies of my youth, where it's buddy cop but times 10, like I said earlier. This trailer looks bitchin'. I'm excited. I'm all in for anything Fast. I had been talking to Alamo Drafthouse before the world stopped about doing a Fast 9, basically hosting a Fast 9 event where we did all 8 of the movies leading up to it in a, basically like I did for the LCAP with Marvel, I wanted to do for Universal and the Fast movies, and basically do a 2-day event leading up to Fast 9 and do like barbecue style. I'm still going to try to do that once the world reopens. Once it's safe and there's any sort of theatrical stuff, mark my words, if you live in LA, I'm going to try to do so many events, and Fast 9 is one I'm certainly gunning for. So imagine all 8 films leading up to Fast 9 with barbecue and Corona. I'm going to make it happen. So I'm really excited for Fast 9, and that's one of the fandoms I don't get to talk about enough. So the trailer, it's everything I love in that world. Silly dialogue, lots of heart and family, and big, big action and cars. Sign me up. We also got another teaser for Nobody, which is from the John Wick creator. I'm really excited for this because it is Bob Odenkirk in the everyman / John Wick role. The everyman being who he looks like and the John Wick style of fighting. This seems like my exact shit. It's a 30-second teaser. If you haven't seen anything for Nobody, check out this teaser, then watch the trailer. Both are exceptional. Now, whereas the Fast 9 trailer said in theaters soon and no date, this said only in theaters April 2nd. Whether that's going to happen or is even possible, time will tell, but both of these are getting theatrical releases. I imagine it's going to move from April, but we will see. We also got a series of Super Bowl commercials that were okay. There were less of the, again, it's a weird time. I opened the show saying how strange things were right now. Not as many Super Bowl ads caught me. The two that I stand out were the flat mat, just because of how, what is happening, and the Michael B. Jordan Siri ad. I loved the Michael B. Jordan Siri ad. I think it was so inventive and strange and delightful and funny, and Michael B. Jordan is really funny and talented, so I like seeing him in that more comedic element, and it sold something really quickly. I'm terrified of robots in my houses. I have the vacuum thing I got for my birthday. What are they called? I call it Jarvis. What are those vacuums called? I have a robot vacuum, but it doesn't listen to me. It's not voice activated. So Jarvis just vacuums. That's the closest to robots I have that I know of. But the Siri ad was hilarious, and that's how you'd feel with Michael B. Jordan, Siri dating your girlfriend. And I did not see the Mila Kunis Ashton Kutcher one, unfortunately, Kill Shot, but I will absolutely check it out. And Hero Talk, he is, in fact, the GOAT, and it doesn't pain me to say it. As a New England Patriots fan, I will now always root for Tom Brady. We didn't even make the playoffs, so I was a Bucs fan this year. But that doesn't mean I still didn't watch the Super Bowl. I watched highlights because I was busy. So I guess I'm not, I'm a fair weather Super Bowl fan unless the Pats are in, which makes me a bad person, but I was still pulling for Tom Brady. So Roomba, thank you. Still pulling for Tom Brady, and he is definitely the GOAT. 7 rings. What an absurd amount of rings. So that was my Super Bowl experience. Briefly, before we get into the curls section of things, I do want to send a very loving rest in peace to Hal Holbrook. Hal Holbrook is a titan. Hal Holbrook was one of those actors that brought so much warmth and depth to every movie that he was in. I discovered him in Into the Wild. I was the exact right age for Into the Wild, and I was just like endeared to this grandfather figure in the movie. And then he popped up in so many things, but recently I was watching Wall Street and he popped up, and Hal Holbrook was just always that force. And we lost Hal Holbrook early in the week, and then recently we lost the great Christopher Plummer. So all of my love to Christopher Plummer's friends and family. He is inspiring in everything he does. If you haven't seen Beginners, it is a genius of a film. It's like 2010, it's recent adjacent. He also is the Dr. Parnassus of my heart. I'm a huge Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus fan. That movie would not be the same without Christopher Plummer. Obviously, you know, the classics like Sound of Music and recently Knives Out and all of those things, but I'm a big Christopher Plummer fan and a big Hal Holbrook fan. We lost them both this week, which is, you know, it's very intense. So, yeah, rest in peace to both of those titans of cinema, and all my love to their friends and family. Rough week for losing legends in movies. Before we get into Schmoedown stuff, and before we get into WandaVision stuff, a number of people have tweeted me, Instagrammed me, etc., asking me to talk more about curl stuff. That is one of the 3 C's of Koi Cubed, and I will say that I want to talk about more fitness stuff for those that are about it. You can tweet me at any point, and I will definitely talk to you about any of those things. I am a fan. That being said, I know it's not a lot of couple of people's tea, so I'm going to leave it for later in the show like I have here, but then we'll do WandaVision. I've been trying a crazy thing this month where I am doing no meat for a month. Now, I saved that for February because I love meat and it's the shortest month of the year. I don't think I've ever gone more than a couple days without eating meat. I'm doing it just to see willpower and you know, how it affects my diet, my energy, and all those things. I am now 9 days in. Energy's okay. I was really sleepy for a couple days, but there's no way to track all of that. There's too many variables. But I do recommend, if you eat meat as much as I did, trying it out, seeing it for your willpower, seeing how it affects. Like, it's made my skin clear up a little bit, because I think just like salt and oils and those things. But yeah, I definitely recommend experimenting with trying out a vegetarian diet for a little time. I'm also, while I'm doing veggie, I'm doing a different, more cardio-based exercise regimen. So I try to work out 6 days a week. Usually I try to do 3 days weights, 3 days cardio. I'm doing 4 days cardio, 2 days weights, just to see how much leaner I can get. I'm really working on cutting during this veggie phase because my calorie deficit, and I'm definitely consuming less. So what I'm doing is boxing 1 day, biking 1 day, running 2 days, weights 2 days. That's my 6-day split. I box for about 20 minutes, but it's 20 minutes nonstop, like, you know, a consistent 5 rounds of 4 minutes, or would it be 4 5-minute rounds? However you want to cut it. I don't take breaks, so it's 20 minutes of straight boxing, as well as I do 10 miles on the bike, and I try to do those in about 36 minutes. I want to keep it under a 4-minute mile on the bike, and then my running, I'm trying to do 5 miles of hill runs. So that's what I'm doing for cardio, and then I'm splitting my actual weightlifting into 3 muscle groups times 2. So what my split this week is chest, back, shoulders, bi, tri, forearms. A lot of people don't work forearms, but I definitely do. That is my split for the situation that I'm living with right now. What I'm trying to do is basically 5 exercises per muscle group. I'm obsessed with the number 15. So while I've got 3 different muscle groups, 5 exercises for each gives me 15 for that split. So I do the first one at high rep, low weight, and then pyramid the other direction. So I end up being high weight, low rep, if that makes any sense. So I go to fatigue, and then I just challenge my body the more I go along. That's been my scheme. That's been my jam. If you want to follow along, I'm going to tweet more about the fitness stuff, and you can see my splits. I started a whole thread at the beginning of the year. That is my plan for fitness. That's what I'm doing for February. So, in summary, doing vegetarian for the month, also doing no booze for the month, which is killing me. I'm doing 4 days of cardio, 2 days of weights. I'm splitting them into 3 muscle groups per day times 5 exercises each, and then in March, when I resume meet, I'm probably going to do the other and do 3 muscle days, 3 cardio days for what it is your jam. All right, I see in the chat someone's being an asshole. I can't actually track unless I lean in, so they're probably irrelevant. Yeah, I don't know. They don't really matter. They're someone wasting their own time in a chat with people that are good. So I've never really had to block anybody in the chat before because my fans are awesome. So to my awesome fans, ignore someone with too much time in their hands, and to that person, find a hobby. All right, over to the world of WandaVision. We got the biggest episode, certainly now, to this point. But I would argue the moment that happened in WandaVision is the biggest moment in the MCU since Cap Shield in Iron Man 1. This is insane. This moment that happened is insurmountable, and I will not be saying it until I'm sure you guys know there will be spoilers. So, all of that being said, I see the chat is still there. As much as I wasn't frustrated, they seem frustrated. Let me see. I don't even know how to block people because I've never done it. Let's see here. It's this Alexander Bibigzy. Someone confirmed that's the name. I don't want to block. Oh, okay. They said goodbye for now. So when I do this makes it easy. Thank you, live chat, for the first ever need to block someone. They're irrelevant, and may they have a day. Goodbye, cunt. As you were. All right. Make sure I did that right. Yeah? Okay. I think I put them in timeout, so if they come back in 5 minutes, then I'll try to block them. But again, that's someone's too much time in their hands. I don't know. Let's talk about WandaVision. All right. WandaVision, everyone that's still here, we're going to go into spoilers, all right? This is a moment. This is a historic event. This is something gigantic. I don't want to be the one to ruin it for you. I was very careful on social media. I was very cautious of as much as I could be. Obviously on TikTok, it's very immediate, all of those things, so I can't possibly warn you anymore. So if you haven't seen WandaVision Episode 5, Friday's episode, we're about to dive in. All right, here we go. Diving in. The multiverse, it's happened, it's real, it's going forward, it's incredible. I'm so elated that my tinfoil hat theories have now become reality to the point where my craziest dreams are now possible. I always like shooting for a fucking home run, and then if we get anywhere near it, I'm happy. But I never honestly expected something so big to happen so early into Phase 4 where everything is fair game. Now my insane Deadpool kills the Fox universe is possible. Now, all of the cameos we always dreamed of with this giant merger are possible. This allows for literally anything to happen. Now, a number of ramifications from this include the potential for this giant cameo to be either one of the Magnetos. We can age up Eric Lyncher, Michael Fassbender. We can age down Sir Ian McKellen, Eric Lyncher. This isn't a downplay to Sir Ian. This is de-aging. I love Sir Ian. We can also have a Patrick Stewart cameo if he decides that Logan wasn't the last performance he wanted to give, which I completely respect if he does. I think one of the cameos that is so touted will be one of those three, and that's where I think that's going. You know what? I wrote notes while I watched, and I did a full hour on Instagram. If you guys ever want to know what I'm thinking on Friday, literally just as soon as I've watched it, I jump on Instagram Live and I do a full hour conversation. You can ask questions. I go back through the whole chat. So if you want to know what I'm thinking before Tuesday, on Friday, Instagram Live. Follow me on Instagram. I do a live every Friday just so you're aware. So most of this I did say on Friday, but I'm going to go through my notes. But first, I read a really cool thing about Jack Schaefer bringing in Evan Peters, saying, quote, "We love the idea of bringing him back," she said with Marvel, recent interview with Marvel.com. And then we were like, how in the world are we going to make this in a logical sense? Like, how do we justify this? Because that's the thing. You can hatch a million great ideas, but to make them land, to make them grounded, to make them feel organic to the larger story. I agree. Not only did they need to land the multiverse with Pietro, which is perfect because obviously the bond between Wanda and Pietro is so unique in the universe and in the Marvel universe, and because We had the rare occasion of 2 Pietros. Like, there's so few characters this would actually work for. This was perfect, but how do you make it work in the context of the show as well as what you need to do Phase 4? That's why this tapestry of Marvel is so impressive. She continues with, we thought, like, how do we give him this entrance and then enjoy that and then make it crazy? We had long had the trope of the brother or the relative or whoever comes to town and, like, stirs things up with the family, that sitcom trope. Everyone was really excited. I think Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios president, if we didn't know, wanted to make sure that there was a reason for it, that it made sense, and I hope that's what we did. I think it did, and then some. So impressed with everything as far as storytelling elements. It was introduced in the 80s, which gives us the 80s elements of the character popping up in the 80s X-Men movie. It gives us all of the power of the Uncle Jesse trope with the Full House references, which are amazingly faded with the Olsen parallel. Also, the director, Matt Shakman, was on the Growing Pains spinoff back in the day, so this reflects 2 of their childhoods, which is even crazier. All of that with an Uncle Jesse Pietro is genius. I think it's a fantastic move. Big fan of this choice, and I love that they really focused on making it organic. She further said, quote, we were always rooting for it and didn't know if it would be possible. It was complicated to make happen, but Evan, talking about bringing Evan directly in the actor, Evan was always up for it, like always. He is a comic book fan and a Marvel fan. He was always up for the absolute weirdest option, and he's a pleasure, truly a pleasure to work with. So, Evan Peters, fantastic lineup. I think Evan Peters is a genius actor, and I love how he's a comic book fan that knew what this moment was, what this meant, all of those things. And I think for fans, seeing the back of the head and having that split second, is it Aaron Taylor Johnson, Evan Pietro, makes us even more excited for where this goes going forward. Everything's fair game. Again, if you follow me on TikTok, one of the other things I said was Kevin Feige had this quote during promoting WandaVision that no one picked up on, saying that everything that Marvel's ever done is now fair game. He's like, the comics have always done it, so now, yeah, everything Fox, everything cartoon. He didn't say canon, he said fair game, but that means everything we can have going forward from this moment. I think Spider-Man 3 is obviously going to be Sony actually making moves towards bringing in all of these Sony Universe stuff and making them canon. I think that's what Doctor Strange is going to be doing. I think with Doctor Strange and Portals, we're going to get a lot of interesting characters being able to be brought in the multiverse of madness. This is the biggest thing since we saw Cap Shield in the background. There's nothing quite like this, and it happened with this deep in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was so impressed. I'm going to quickly read my notes I took while watching that episode. Now that I've given you guys those quotes that popped up this week, I just could not believe how exciting it was. Yes, Evan Peters' ramifications. Oh, J.J. Jameson. This was 3 weeks after Endgame. The blip happened 3 weeks later. That's where we are for the timing of the show. 4 months go by, I think roughly, between Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home. Roughly. That's the timing I've seen written. I'm trying to find a little bit clearer sources, but it looks like it's 3 or 4 months versus this 3 weeks. Which means Spider-Man Far From Home takes place after the events of WandaVision, which, in my opinion, makes it certain that J. Jonah Jameson is the first multiverse pull. I think we're going to get both JJs. Classic J.K. Simmons JJ as well. Thank you, 8 months, Trevin says. Thank you, Trevin. The timing is so insane. I think we can get both OG JK and the new JK, different haircut, Fox News JK plus OG JK, and that'll be another pull from the multiverse. I think we've already experienced the multiverse in Spider-Man Far From Home. They had Jake kind of throwing it away and making it less credible, but if the multiverse wasn't real, I don't think Samuel L. Jackson is a dumb character, so I don't think he would have believed it. I think the multiverse was real then, and Jake might have been a fraud, but I do think that J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson was our first multiversal character, and that's why they cast the same actor to play that character. I think this started last year. I think the multiverse has been going, and I honestly think we're going to find out retroactively that J.K. was the first character, which is so exciting, because that way we get our cake and eat it too. We get the Pietro moment. We've already got the J.K. moment. Marvel gets 2 giant splashes of multiverse craziness, and I think we're going to find that out as we go along. I always love the commercials. I talk about the commercials, their importance every episode. In this case, Lagos is the place in Nigeria where the horrible incident that causes civil war happens. We get the death of basically so many people as caused by powers and caused by Wanda. I still think that the commercial breaks are a break in her reality, and therefore it's the guilt and the horrors of her life. Stark with the missile, Strucker with the torture and manipulation, and now Lagos, they're cleaning literally like blood. It's not actually, sorry, literally I used poorly. They're not cleaning literal blood, they're cleaning metaphorical blood with paper towels, a la the classic sitcom tropes. But the blood of the people she killed is about as much direct guilt as you can have, so that Lagos commercial was very indicative of what's to come. I do still think it's the parents that are the two actors in those commercials, but magic being not a fix, you can hear the things dripping as she puts it down. It's not solving anything, it's just shoving it aside like magic has been known to do in the comic books. Also, it's a scarlet stain. There's so much imagery in that blood / cleaning up. We know that the show takes place in 2023, but with the 5-year blip, that plays around with that sort of continuity, which is fun. I know they've been trying to disavow it. I still think the cosmic radiation they talked about is going to, when it explodes out, lead to the Fantastic Four. I know a lot of people will give me shit about that concept. I do think that's what's going to happen. I think it's too big of a phrase, and I know cosmic radiation's real. I get it. I know it's real human canon, but them phrasing it the way they did, I think does lead to Fantastic Four. I think an event at the end of the show causes the multiverse, which I think we'll find out later, 2 years from now, in a Fantastic Four movie, was the beam of radiation that went out and possibly caused them. That's my theory. And in this episode, they mentioned the aerospace engineer, which I think is either Blue Marvel or Reed Richards himself. I really think it's Reed. Could also be Blue Marvel, but I do think the aerospace engineer, you don't just throw away a line like that. So if either of those gents are that character, or Sue Storm, Riri Williams is too young. But I think it's Reed or Blue Marvel personally. 80s music vibes on point. I'm so glad to be back in this world. I'm actually enjoying living in the Wanda world quite a bit. I loved episode 4, but I really wanted to be back again. The directing stuff, the want me to take that again. We're upping the craziness. Sparky made me so happy. Again, I do a full hour on Instagram, so I'm not going to go over all my notes here because it would be another hour. The trick up my sleeve line from Agnes, she's a witch. I love that. The children aging, I think, is the speedster powers plus Wiccan's magic powers. They have to combine to age themselves up. I think they're literally altering reality with time. So speed and reality altering to age themselves up. But my question is, what does Wanda see that as? Because she's not controlling it. And what does Agnes want out of that? Because clearly Agnes wants them to age up. Why? I don't know. But Agnes clearly wants them to age up. And maybe they come to a certain age and they want to get out of the world. Maybe they come to a certain age and they become powerful enough to fight Wanda. She's manipulating something. These are all my questions. But that's all really interesting in the Young Avengers canon, because they've proven through the rules set in the dome that what comes out of the dome stays like it was. We've had the jump rope with the tether. We've had the wardrobe, which they really focused on this episode. So I think the kids do live on. I think so does Vision once the dome falls. But what age will they be in the Young Avengers? What age do we end the series on with Tommy and Billy? That's fascinating to me. And Vision seems to be very free of Scarlet's control. He's afraid of her. There's that beautiful scene of them both trying to like power play the other. What's that look like with his sentience? Because the stone being removed, obviously, holy shit. But how far did Shuri get along in repairing him? And it looked like, he had the Mind Stone as part of him for a very long time. When he wakes up, that computer tech guy, we see yellow energy come out of his fingertips. To me, that is him still having some Mind Stone abilities. So I see that as Shuri was able to do enough with the Mind Stone to allow him to retain some of that. And I think that's where we're going to get what kind of freedom from her and what powers he has going forward. And I think Vision is part of us in the MCU after all of this, because we've seen that things can survive outside of the dome. But I have a big question about the censoring, because we don't know what happened with the drone strike. They cut away. We don't know what's happening in between commercial breaks. What was interesting to me was Darcy actually didn't even acknowledge the commercials when she was watching it. And I love that Darcy and Wu are kind of our eye lines into the world, because Wu played our eye line in Ant-Man and Darcy played kind of our like everyman eye line in Thor. So I love that those characters literally recite a lot of the things we've been thinking about the show, like our theories and stuff, that's dialogue they have. So I think that's genius, but what happens in those edited moments? What is reality while she's manipulating reality that we can't see? That is such a fun concept, and that's so much fun to play with. Also, apparently the meme that went around about an Agent Wu X-Files show apparently got big enough that Marvel's talking about it. So Randall Park maybe gets a Disney Plus show because he's so loved. I love that fans controlling the narrative by voting with their eyeballs and tweets is a really cool thing we're living through. All of that's very exciting, but what really happens in the censoring? The Sword leader is definitely a bad guy in some way, whether or not he's just selfish and manipulative, doesn't trust heroes. Maybe he was on the other side of the Sokovia Accords. I'm telling you, the Sokovia Accords are going to be really big in Falcon Winter Soldier. Is he ex-Hydra? Is he current AIM? Is AIM the new Hydra? I still think AIM has something to do with all this. There's some great dialogue in this episode, like your mom won't let him get far, referring to Sparky because everyone's trapped in the dome. That's some self-awareness we're starting to peek through, like your mom won't let him get far, and she was alarmed by that phrasing. Altruistic Monica is going to be interesting because I think this whole show is about grief and trauma. I think this all started when she went to go get Vision, and that's why they moved that scene from Endgame. The scene we saw in this episode of her going to retrieve Vision's body was originally the post-credit scene in Endgame. The trauma of the funeral, she was coping, she had that great conversation with Hawkeye, and then I think post-credit was going to be her seeing that Vision was being rebuilt as a weapon. I think Sword was rebuilding Vision as a weapon, and that set her off. And I think they're smart to not let the Mad Woman trope be Scarlet Witch's whole plot line, and that's why I think Mephisto is part of the show. I think Mephisto and possibly Agnes are manipulating Wanda. That way it's not just like she went crazy. I don't think villain, hero, villain, crazy really works. So I think they're manipulating her, but she is rationalizing everything she's doing within the dome because she's easing everyone's grief and trauma. Every time someone pops out of the reality, they immediately think of grief and trauma. They immediately, like the guy thought about his wife, cancer, like those things. So I think what she feels like she's doing is abating their grief and trauma, and I think that's going to parallel with Monica, and that'll be what the show's really heading towards at the end. Like the third act is going to be coping, and it's going to be how to handle those things and how to deal with them, and whether that means, we put Wanda through like Doctor Strange helping. I think that's going to tie in. Whether or not she is an antagonist in Doctor Strange is going to be interesting. I think Nightmare is personally the villain in Doctor Strange. Maybe Nightmare and Dottie, I think, is who Mephisto is. Maybe Nightmare and Mephisto are sapping the negative energy of the grief and trauma, and they're fueling off it. They're getting powered from all the grief and trauma she's coping with. There's lots of cool shit. Also, the Magneto moment where she basically does the guns, but she uses magic instead of magnetic energy was dope, and like throwing the drone, very Magneto. Like that family father-daughter moment, very fucking cool. Oh, and the final bit with the credits. The show was a little longer this week because they were actually yelling over the credits at the end of the episode. The reality of the episode they were living in, they passed. So I think we're going to get longer episodes going forward, just like conveniently TV got longer in the 90s and 2000s. I think we're going to see longer episodes of Wanda, and I'm curious if we just break out of that framework after the next week's 90s episode. Next week, I'm predicting the Halloween stuff, which we've seen trailers for. 90s had a lot of great Halloween tropes in their shows, 80s and 90s really, but 90s had a lot of great Halloween-themed episodes. That lines up perfect because the show is genius. We're going to find out what's going on with the Stone because we've seen the fake Stone in the footage on his Halloween costume. We're getting those Silver Age costumes. I think we're going to get a dramatic age up of Billy and Tommy. I think we're going to have a lot of fun hijinks of like crazy Uncle Jesse with Pietro. I have seen a lot of people think that Pietro is Mephisto, which is possible, but that doesn't change the ramifications of that. If it's Mephisto embodying the body of Fox's Pietro, that still makes everything Fox canon. That's still multiverse happening. That's all still just as relevant. Whether or not that character is in that moment Pietro or Mephisto embodying Pietro, that's still the biggest event we've had in 10 years. It's very exciting, fucking crazy. I'm losing my mind. We shall see. Let me quickly read through the comments and make sure I didn't miss any Streamlabs. Again, that was about 20 minutes on WandaVision. If you guys want to know all of my notes and all of my thoughts, I'm doing it over on Instagram. Instagram is far too important for getting job numbers. So I'm trying to get my Instagram over the 10,000 mark so I can swipe up to send you guys stuff. You can't do the links in the swipe up until you have 10,000 followers. And I've got like 9,200 or 9,300 or something. I need a fucking few more, and then I can do swipe up bullshit. So that's why I'm focusing on Instagram right now. I saw someone ask moments ago. I hate that I care about followers, but it really helps me do my job to have some of the abilities that require a bit more followers. I also want to be able to get back to studio work, so I need them numbers. Joel Rolston says, the day DC does a live adaptation of The New Frontier, I will believe WB has a solid foundation for a cinematic universe. You can cover decades of characters. That's a dope idea. I support that. I would like that very much. Please and thank you, and write DC, tweet DC, tell them that. Yes, I agree. Make it so. Joel is always full of cool ideas, man. I recognize your name as someone I'm always like, yeah, that's a fucking great idea. Why don't they do that? I agree, Joel Rolston. Also, earlier question from Caleb was, WandaVision spoilers, do you think Evan Peters is Pietro, or is he still the Quicksilver we saw in Dark Phoenix? I think he is the Fox canon X-Men. Whether or not he's manipulated, we will see, but I think he is Pietro in this case from the 80s. I think that the fear on her face was her realizing that he's not the right Quicksilver. I do think he's Quicksilver / Pietro. Whether or not he stays that way, time will tell, but I do think this is the beginning of an incursion event. This is where it all happens. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I do think Evan Peters is Pietro / Quicksilver from the Fox universe, and I think he might be being manipulated, but I think that doesn't matter for the scope of what the story is. I think that is all of the ones over on the Streamlabs. Let me quickly check the live chat, because this is exciting stuff that we're going through. Unprecedented hype on this episode of WandaVision. Scrolling back, bada, 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 bada. People are very excited I had to mute someone for the first time. That's very funny to me. You guys are so hyped that that had to happen. There's so many exclamation points and thank yous. Okay, scrolling back. As Scarlet Witch fan, I cannot express how happy I am to see her in her full power. Right, Hero Talk? It's been dope. The amount of joy that WandaVision brings me should be illegal. Scott Welsh, I get it. I agree. It is just every week so much joy. My whole Friday is watching that and then making content. It is so much fun to just dive into that at all times. Is this your first tinfoil theory to come true? No, actually. What other ones have I had come true? It's the biggest. I'm telling you right now, J. Jonah Jameson is my next one that's going to come true. I've had others come through. I've had casting ones come true. Off the top of my head, I can't think of a bigger one or another one at all, to be honest. But I have had them come through because I remember like showing receipts and retweeting shit and being very proud. I'm excited, but I can't shake the feeling they could be serving us a fake out like Mandarin and Mysterio multiverse. They could, but the image of him as Quicksilver is too much tied to Fox for it not to be at least something. That was a Flash move. Evan Peters is awesome, I agree. I think they did that to make sure that we saw he's using Aaron Taylor Johnson's Quicksilver hairstyle and not the good Quicksilver all silver hair. I think Trevin, that was just a bait and switch. I think they wanted us to think it was Aaron for just a moment, and his whole style has changed up. Everyone's really excited for episode 6. I agree. Trevin gave it 8 months, which I appreciated. That is why Nick Fury believed him. That's what I think. Yes, that was Talos, yes, but the SHIELD operation completely validated multiverse, and not everyone was a Skrull. He was, but not everyone. I still stand by it, but I see you. Oh man, if they put Spider-Man for the Marvel Gaming Universe in Spider-Man 3, it would make my mind explode, especially if Yuri gets to play him, man. I would love to see Yuri in a movie of that scale. I actually thought aging was because of Agnes's magic, probably. No, because remember, they look at each other, and Wanda told them to stop. She like, they were doing the aging, which is interesting. In my opinion, that's what I think. Agnes kind of did a spell on them, I think. Nothing she does is casually. Feels like time passes differently in there as well. Oh, time is definitely wonky in there, because they're just jumping decades. When they go to sleep, It's a new decade, a new house, a new everything. Time is definitely not linear in the dome. It's all a coping mechanism through television. Agent Wu and the Agents of Atlas sounds like a legit Man from Uncle Ben style show. Dude, I would love an Agents of Atlas, Agent Wu led show. That'd be so dope. Falcon the Winter Soldier supposedly ties in with Black Widow. I think it does, and I definitely think there's going to be something interesting with Taskmaster and other characters tying into both. 4 episodes left in the entire season, about 6 hours. I think there's a 10th episode. There's more. Vanco, you're so close to 10K and Insta, almost there. I know, it's been driving me crazy. I was up to 9,400, and then I was honest about my politics, and then I also didn't let atrocities lie, and I got vocal, and then I lost about 400, but those 400 can fuck off, so I'm rebuilding. I'd rather lose monsters and have awesome people and get to 10,000 slower than fucking have people that think BLM is a problem. So I happily lost a lot of fucks in this last year, and good riddance, and now I'm rebuilding. I'm very close. Next 4 episodes are going to be big. I think we're halfway. Thanks for the support, Corey. You got it, Joel. Thank you for your great ideas. Am I excited for Invincible? You're goddamn right I'm excited for Invincible. I'm excited for the live-action movie, and I'm excited for the animated show. Live-action movie is probably 2 or 3 years away. The show is coming really soon. The cast of the show is some of the best I've ever seen. The creators on the live-action movie are Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen, who have given us some of the best content of superheroes we've gotten to date, and Seth Rogen is, funnily enough, doing a voice in the animated show, so he's in both, which is really fun and exciting. So I'm very excited for the Invincible stuff. Did I miss the Steppenwolf conversation? You know what? We talked about Joker, but we didn't really talk about Steppenwolf. Screw the order. Steppenwolf, that really cool black and white footage advertising, what is it called? Justice League Gray? What was the phrase? Justice is Gray? One, that's a dope phrase. Justice is Gray is such a cool concept. Shades of Gray being nuance, and Justice is Gray being that justice is nuanced. All of that, dope. Also, the footage itself looks really cool. Him taking on like 10 Amazons, just the brutality and the intenseness of his fighting, the way they did it with the monitor, the way it's in like the editing bay. He also, I will say that Steppenwolf punches gift horses in the mouth for sure. There's one guy that punches gift horses in the mouth. It's Steppenwolf, and that footage is awesome. So we did not talk about it earlier. That is my 30-second, yes please, more. I'm excited for the Snyder Cut, man. We got like a month till Snyder Cut. I'm debating if I'm going to do like, what kind of coverage I'm going to do on it. Whether it's just going to be a review, whether it's going to be a breakout review, whether it's going to be like, I don't know. But I'm excited. We will see. Let's see. Love that Fox. Quicksilver, Hero Talk. What do I think of Connor's next move after that KO loss? Ooh, a Curls question. Thank you. I think Connor is going to come back and fight Dustin for the trilogy. And I think he is going to come back training completely differently. I think he's going to go through a very different camp. I hope he doesn't come back with his old style of psychological warfare, because I really enjoyed this Connor. I really think Connor is a very capable fighter, and he's also like a good warrior. Like, he's honorable and he gives a shit. Like, in the cage, like, he respects, like, as soon as, even like, win or lose, he respects the other fighter after they fight. Like, he always, and I liked him doing that in the beginning instead of him like getting to that point. So he tweeted like, no more Mr. Nice Guy, and I really hope we're not getting, I like the theatrics of his persona. That's one of the reasons like he's so captivating. He talks like a movie character. He's like got Sorkin dialogue while being a guy that gets punched in the head. I'm so impressed with Connor, the showman and the fighter. I love that he was able to be the same level of showman while being clearly a fan of Dustin's as a human. I really enjoyed that, so I hope that's the direction he stays. But I think training-wise, it's going to be a completely different camp. I think he's going to be a lot quicker to take Dustin out. I think he knows not to wait until the second or third round. I think he has a chance. I think I'm a big fan of Dustin now. And I don't know if he fights Dustin next or someone else, but I was certainly, I was bummed because I'm a big Conor fan. But I think he's going to come back a different fighter, and I think he's going to train longer as far as, like he said, he only got a few seconds in the octagon in 3 years, and then, that's going to change how he fights. So I think he's going to be fighting, his sparring is going to be a lot more intense, so it's more like he's in the octagon as best he can. It's going to be interesting. And thank you for the curls question. At least in the Hex they can. Maybe they can warp reality. Wanda can. Oh, man, I love the fact that we're in such deep nerddom that these casually thrown around phrases exist. Like, there's a WandaVision show that's this insanely nerdy. There's a free week before Falcon and Winter Soldier, so maybe there is a 10th episode. The horse throwing fire. I'm glad they're letting Snyder crank it up to 11. Man, the fans did that. I get that reference. He went full Mayweather with his character. Did you hear that Tom Holland denied the Maguire, Garfield are in Spider-Man 3 Venko? I did, and we did a whole thing on it like 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago maybe. Venko, I hop on and you got like 3 dislikes, and did you talk about Star Wars, LOL? Just wanted to say I've been watching your content throughout the COVID madness, and it's really helped my mental state. Your positivity is infectious. Keep doing what you're doing. Dude, thank you, Venko. I actually had 2 dislikes and 0 likes before I even pressed live. I started at a deficit, so 3's fine. I tweeted that I didn't personally like the look of Jared Leto's Joker, and I am not surprised that people would come over here and dislike that. The fact they did it before I even spoke actually helped me feel better, because that means that it wasn't something I said. It was them holding a grudge against my opinion. I don't know why people would watch my content if they didn't want my opinion. I also was very diplomatic in explaining it. So that 3rd dislike, I don't know what they want from me. But we did have our first ever mute on today's episode. So maybe it was that motherfucker that threw a dislike in there on his way out. But at the end of the day, the comments I get from you and from the live chat being so great, and the fact that this show is officially a year old, by the way. We are into February. This is not a calendar. We are into February. This is my Batman watch. See, he runs. Look at that little Batman. Look at him go. Look at him go. We are into February, which means this show is a year old now, and that is the first time we've had to mute anyone in a fucking year, and that makes me very excited. So, Vanko, that means the world. Thank you. Your comment means I can tolerate way more dislikes, because that balances so many scales. Much appreciated, man. People suck, but you don't, and no one in the fucking koi pond does. You guys are all fantastic. I truly love our corner of the internet. You guys mean the world to me. Just floating through. Great name. They're aiming for I think you meant rematch, but it's spell checked to a rubber match, which is funny. I personally wish they would go with Connor versus Tony Ferguson. I would love to see him fight Tony Ferguson, because Tony Ferguson is such a dynamic fighter. He's such a lively entertainer, and so is Connor, and the fighting styles they both have would be really interesting opposite each other. Like, I'd be really curious to see how they train, how they fight each other. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think that's a dynamic fight for a rematch. Yeah, I saw the tweet. I personally dig it. It looks like Rob Zombie, but you do you. See, that's how we disagree, with respect. Thank you. And I even tweeted after, like, I feel bad anyone that I offended, anyone that, like, feels like I did them dirty. I'm stoked you dig it. Like, I honestly am happy that people are happy. But because I'm not, doesn't mean they shouldn't be. So fuck yeah, I'm glad you dig it. And I'm also a big old fan of Rob Zombie. So the fact that you see him that way makes me like him a little bit more as a fucking diehard White Zombie fan. And I think White Zombie is like a 10, and I think Rob Zombie's like a 9, but since White Zombie's a 10, I would love another White Zombie album. But I love them both. All right, let's get back to the notes I had, because I'm gonna do apparently a feature-length show today. We're an hour and 17 minutes. Gave up on rapping before an hour because I'm hanging out with you lovelies. Let's get to Schmoedown thoughts for anyone that is here as a Schmo fan. We are going into Season 8, and the Quirky Mercs have 5 matches on the docket. We've got 5 coming up over the course of March. We've got Jesse Swift versus Amaru Moses. Actually, I'll just break them down individually. I've been training with Jesse. I've been seeing his stuff. I'm not going to give too much away, but I'm very excited about this match. It is a hell of a way to kick off 2 rookie seasons. These are 2 of the highest touted rookies in the game. I'm really excited to see them go at it. I'm a big fan of both these gentlemen. Jesse has really impressed me. I've got a lot of respect for Amaru. Just in general, I'm a fan. But Jesse's really impressed me. There's no one more passionate about the Schmoedown, short of Bibiani, than Jesse Swift. I'm very excited to see all this madness, and I'm really impressed with the kid, and I'm all in. Next up, we've got, actually, I don't know them chronologically, so bear with me. We've got the kid going up against Chance Ellison. Brendan Meyer against Chance is going to be a barn burner, man. Those are going to be very intense days. Training is going to be crazy. That is a championship level fight. All the respect to Chance, but Brendan's going to eat him alive. But it's going to be a hell of a match. It's going to be one of those, like, everyone's getting perfect rounds until atrophy match, and then Brendan's going to take him out. But it's going to be beautiful. I'm very excited. Also, it's always fun to go up against Shannon because I'm like the face of the league and she's like the heel of the league. We've got Bibbs against Ethan Irwin. Nope, sorry. Bibbs against Oyama. That's going to be insane because, again, championship level match to kick off the season. It's also the co-main event for DiMolanta Damon. So, holy shit, what a card. I think that personally, Oyama's incredible, but I think Bibbs is one of the... I think he needs to be on more Mount Rushmore conversations. I think Mount Rushmore is lacking a Bibiani. The guy literally wrote the book on the Schmoedown, and he loves the trivia as much as he loves the game. I think he is a force, and I'm really excited for him to take on someone this strong this early. Because last year, I think ring rust happened, and there's no ring rust, there's only ring rage. I'm excited for that one. DiMolanta Damon is obviously the biggest of them as far as what it is. It's a championship match. I think Damon has had his title and comfort for quite some time, and I think that's how... I feel like we've got a different DiMolanta, you know? I feel like he has only played with certain people, and I think the way we're going about training is gonna make for a fierce DiMolanta. So I'm very excited about this DiMolanta. Yeah, we will see. And then in Intergeekdom, in addition to Jesse and Amaru, we've got Humphrey versus Saul. And I am stoked because I think John Humphrey was super slept on last year along with Greg. And I don't know Saul's work all that well. Obviously, I've seen a match. But I'm really excited to see these two titans of great hair go at each other. And I think that's going to be a really fun Intergeekdom match to really kick everything off. So those are the 5 matches the Quirky Mercs got this season. You can get all sorts... look at that. I was about to say merch. You can get all sorts of Quirky merch over at Skybound. And as a personal note, if you guys watch this show... That's also where they sell Saga stuff, because it's Image, and that makes me so happy that Saga and my merch are side by side. You can get Saga stuff the same place you can get my faction stuff. That is so insane. Very excited, very proud. So Quirky merch, you got mugs, you got shirts, you got sweatshirts, all of that available over at Skybound. Check out the store, and I'm really excited about it. And any Quirky merch you guys get, I will retweet and share and Instagram and be very excited you have. So any of that stuff, tweet at me, Instagram at me, because I want to see it, and I'm really stoked for this season. That is going to do it for all of the Skybound and Schmoedown stuff. I'll update you guys as the matches move along, but before we wrap today's show, let's do comic book recommendations. My favorite comics from last week, the week of February 3rd, were Firepower number 8, a genius new series from Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney. Loving this book. Future State Harley Quinn number 2, Future State Wonder Woman number 2, Hellblazer Rise and Fall number 3, concluding, that's the whole arc, that's everything, 3 issues. Derek Robertson and Tom Taylor teaming up, fantastic one. We've also got Immortal Hulk number 43. We've got King in Black. King in Black Black Knight is my favorite Black Knight issue in like a decade. King in Black Knight is a great jumping on point if you don't know the Black Knight character. That's the character that Homeboy from Game of Thrones is going to be playing. So if you don't know Black Knight, there's a great one-shot called King in Black Black Knight that I really enjoyed. King in Black Venom vs. Carnage, inexplicably very fun, great art, fun little side world, really dug it. A lot of times these side missions are great places to discover new talent, new artists, new writers. Really impressed with this Venom vs. Carnage, even though the title is preposterous. It's a really good time. King in Black Marauders number 1, continuing the great Marauders stuff from Jerry Duggan. Great book with Kitty Pryde. This one-off is fantastic. Highly recommend. Runaways 33. It's been like 4 months since we've had a Runaways book. Love that title. It is back. Strange Academy number 8. Imagine if Dr. Strange ran an X-Men school for magic. Like, imagine Harry Potter meets X-Men, and that is what Strange Academy is like. Then we've got Venom 33, Donny Cates, approaching the end of his run, and I know what he's doing next, and it's going to blow a lot of minds. Strap in for more Donny Cates goodness. And then we've got X Factor number 7. Probably my favorite issue of X Factor to date of this new run is number 7. A lot of good playfulness with the new characters. The art's really singing. I'm really a fan of where X Factor is right now. So those are my favorite books from last week. the books that are available tomorrow at your local comic book store that I recommend for February 10th, I recommend you check out Amazing Spider-Man 59, American Vampire 1976 number 5, Daredevil 27, Eternals number 2, Excalibur 18, Fantastic Four 29, the following Future State books. Future State is a new, very approachable jumping on point over at DC. All of these books are only a couple issues in, and it's kind of like this Elseworld adjacent thing where a big event happened in DC that Scott Snyder was writing, and now there's an alternate reality you can kind of jump on. And I think some of these titles are going to remain, so it's a great jumping on point if you like a character and don't want a lot of back issue continuity. Jump on in one of these. My favorites, the ones I'm picking up this week are Future State, Dark Detective 3, Green Lantern 2, Justice League 2, Kara Zor-El Superwoman 2, Robin Eternal 2, Superman Wonder Woman 2, and Teen Titans 2 are all available this week from DC, which means they're actually available today because DC is Tuesday now. Also recommend Green Lantern Season 2, number 11, Homesick Pilots number 3. Love this new indie title from Image. Big old fan of Homesick Pilots. King in Black Black Panther number 1, King in Black Thunderbolts number 2, Morbius Bond of Blood number 1. That movie should have come out 3 times over by now, so I'm wondering how much this Morbius book ties into the movie. Rorschach number 5, Sensational Wonder Woman number 6, Sword number 3, Taskmaster number 3, Undiscovered Country number 12, Wolverine Black and White and Blood number 2, and X-Force 17 are all available at your local comic book store tomorrow. Those are the books I'll be checking out, and then next week I'll tell you which of those were my favorites. Before I wrap out, I'm going to check out the live chat real quick. Let's see where I left off. Zooming through. I can't wait to see the mute. I think that's where I left off. Joker with long hair is weird, but I'm interested. Heath had like medium-length punk hair, which I really dug. Heath's my favorite Joker by a comfortable margin. So the hair isn't the thing for me, but I do see the Rob Zombie-ness, so maybe that's why I don't mind it. Let's see. Does Marvel have the movie rights to Namor yet, or am I crazy? Yes. Yes, they do. Universal had the rights, but I think they expired 3 years ago, so Namor is now fair game. I think Namor might be in Black Panther 2. I think it's as likely as Doctor Doom. I think Namor is coming, and I think with Fantastic Four, you're going to want to set up surrounding characters around the Fantastic Four, and Wakanda's a great place for it, building up to Fantastic Four. So I see Namor and Doctor Doom coming, potentially even before FF. Venko, it's because we live in a culture where people see these things as part of them, which is good and bad. I completely agree. But it means that people take these way too personally. And I'm guilty of that too, man. When people were saying that WandaVision wasn't good, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then I was like, whoa, this is a show. So I get it, but like I never yell at... I mostly keep that in check, and then I'm able to be like, what? That was a moment of error. I even tweeted today that Twitter is really dangerous because I took it really personally. I felt guilty that I upset people, and I also felt angry that people were personal back at me. And there's a really tricky ecosystem with social media, especially in quarantine. We've been in this for so long. Most of our human contact and interactions is through online. It was already a lot before. Like, it was already like 70%. Now it's like 95% of our interactions are online. So it's slippery and it's messy. And I'm really going to try to not be on social media as much for a while I'm so sensitive, while I'm so close to the edge. Like, I'm really threadbare. I'm really exhausted. I miss people. I'm an extrovert. I'm struggling. So I feel like I took today way more personally than I would have normally. So I'm going to distance myself a little bit. But I do agree. People take it very personally. And online social media is really tricky. Like, people forget I'm a fucking human. And I forget that, some people live and breathe this stuff as much as I do. And I might, have affected them on the worst day of their life. Like, I don't know what that person went through that day. So it's messy. But here we are. That's the song of scrolling. I thought Universal had the rights to Namor, but I could be wrong. Killshot, I'm pretty sure they used to, but I don't think they do anymore. Coy is like if Kevin Smith and Andrew WK cooked up the ultimate positive, nerdy, jacked human in a lab. Jake Robertson, thank you, you wonderful son of a bitch. That is a compliment and a half, and I appreciate you very much. That's very fucking kind. Thank you. It's exactly who I want to be. The weirdest medley of things that you just described, exactly my shit. I'm gonna read it again. Coy's like if Kevin Smith and Andrew WK cooked up the ultimate positive, nerdy, jacked human being in a lab. Yes! It's very sweet. Scott Welsh, Rob Zombie, great concert. Concerts, remember those things? I have seen Rob Zombie 7 times. One time, they played almost all White Zombie stuff. It was dope. And another time, I saw him at the end of a haunted house in LA. He was like throwing a haunted house, and if you got through all the haunted houses at the end was a Rob Zombie concert. And I spent a decent amount of money on the haunted house, but I was like, yo, there's a Rob Zombie concert at the end of this. So I went through a little quick, and I was fucking front row Rob Zombie for like not as expensive as it should have been, because it wasn't a stadium show. It was dope. I love small venues. I got to see him in a small venue. It was incredible. Rob Zombie is so good live. Completely agree. Big old fan. And I miss concerts so fucking much. The amount of crowd surfing I'm going to do, not at hugs, not at a concert, but the amount of just fucking human. Oh, cannot wait. Remy's Art. Welcome back. Haven't seen your name in a little bit. Stay true to you, Coy. This is what we're here for. Express your opinions. Fuck the haters. And I appreciate your middle finger usage. Excellent. Excellent. I appreciate you. The matches start in March, Killshot. Yes, in March. March 19th is a big old day, but they start earlier in March. I think the first week of March. Lewis. Yeah, that's what I thought. But okay. Oh, we're talking about Namor. Look, I'm a Snyder fan, and you were very respectful of your criticism. If people got pissy, fuck them. Fuck them indeed, hero. That's how you spell it. Let's go, Mercs. Thank you, Scotty Walsh. I'm good at getting quirky merch shirts this year. Yes, Killshot. I appreciate you. Tweet that shit. Or send it to me on Instagram. Whatever you follow me on, send me it. Don't forget your Koicast merch either. Yes. Don't punch gift horses. Wear Koicast shirts. I've also got Koicast masks, because we're going to be in this for a little while. All sorts of Koicast merch at koicast.com. All sorts of quirky merch at skybow.com. And I think I need to make a Spidey Cat shirt. I think I'm going to make a Spidey Cat shirt, and I also might make a like Koi separate of Koicast shirt. I'm going to start making merch this year. I think merch is coming. Thank you. In general, anyone that gets into that stuff, it means the world. I think your Patreon link is not working down below. Can someone else check what is happening? If you go to patreon.com and type Coy-Jandreau, that is guaranteed to work. I will see about that. I can't do it while we're on air, but I am sorry. Coy-Jandreau at Patreon is all you need to know, and I appreciate you even wanting to, you magnificent person. I'm 2 years behind in comics, and it literally bums me out. I miss it so much. Financial issues is the reason. I get it. I have a lot of publishers I work with, so I have a different access than most people, but it is an expensive hobby, but a very worthwhile one, so I completely empathize. And when you get to catch up, you're going to have the best 6 months of just reading comics, and it's going to be awesome and so worth it, and you're going to get there. I believe in that for you, and it's going to be bitchin'. All right, we're almost to the end of the live chat. Is it kind of like how Spider-Verse had a bunch of new titles and some of them suck? Yes. Oh, not suck, stuck. Yes, exactly. I think it's going to be a big blowout event, and the ones that work stay around, and the ones that didn't will fade by the wayside, but I do think that's exactly the plan. When I'm pissed on social media, I try to take 5 minutes and then think of what I want to tweet that or post it, and it's done wonders for me. Breathing, taking 5 is the move. Yes, I agree, Vanko. Koi Twitter is the tash bag of the internet. What is a tash bag? I hope that's a nice thing. My comic book store at my town closed last year, so it's hard for me to get comics. CC Drink, I'm so sorry. That is unfortunate. That is the way of things. I love Golden Apple and House of Secrets out here. I know Golden Apple ships. I think House of Secrets do. If you call and tell them my name, you might get a discount. If you need a new store, local's the better way to go, but if you need comic shipped, those two stores are great. The Patreon is leading to an error message. I'm sorry. That's stupid, and I'm mad at the internet. Patreon.com/Coy-Jandreau, or type in Coy-Jandreau over at Patreon. I apologize for all that jazz. The Discord is dope. Thank you, Ian, for being in there. Take 5 and have some bourbon. I agree, Ian Roth. That is going to do it for the show. This has been a feature-length episode of the show, and we are ending it with more people than we started. That means you guys were here for the Schmoedown, you guys were here for my comic recs, you were here for my fitness concept stuff, and that makes me so happy because I want Koi Cubed to be about comics, cinema, and curls, which just knowing that number is higher right now than it was when I started means I will be doing more curl stuff. I was afraid I would alienate half of you. I am very, very proud of the world we've built. I am honored that we've only had to mute one people. We've only had to mute one person an entire year. The Koi Pond is strong. You guys are amazing. Someone yelled at me last week for looking at the screen instead of at the camera, and now I'm like paranoid about it, but I like reading when I lean in instead of looking over here. So I'm sorry for the disconnect, but know that I'm looking into your souls with love and appreciation while also looking at the screen. Much obliged. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you very, very much. I will see you on Thursday when we're doing a live review